Let's dive into a really cool bit of food science that might just solve a problem I'm sure you've run into: how to get healthy whole wheat bread that's also soft and delicious. Can we finally have it all? Come on, you know the feeling. You grab the whole wheat bread at the store, you're trying to be healthy, but in the back of your mind, you're already preparing for a sandwich that's going to be, well, a little heavy, a bit like a brick. So, what's the deal? Why is there such a massive difference between that fluffy white bread and its healthy cousin? And that right there gets to the heart of what bakers call the whole wheat problem. It's this constant battle between nutrition and texture. You're either getting the health benefits or the great feel, but it's really hard to get both in one loaf. Okay, so the whole issue really boils down to what's in the flour. Refined flour, your standard white flour, is just the starchy endosperm. It's perfect for creating that stretchy gluten network that makes bread soft and springy, but all the good stuff, the fiber and nutrients, are stripped out. Whole wheat flour, on the other hand, keeps everything: the bran, the germ, all the nutrients, which is awesome for our bodies, but as it turns out, it's a real wrecker for the bread's texture. And it turns out, these little brown specks you see in whole wheat bread, they're the bad guys here. These coarse bits of bran literally act like tiny little razor blades. They slice right through the gluten network that's trying to form and trap air. No trapped air means no fluffiness, and you're left with a dense, tough loaf. So the big question is, how do you fix this? And more importantly, how do you fix it without adding a bunch of ingredients with scary-sounding chemical names? Well, scientists went on a hunt for what the food industry calls a clean label solution, something that works but is also natural. And they found a really promising candidate called Gellan Gum. Now, don't let the name throw you. It's totally natural. It's basically a complex carb that's made by a microbe. It's already used in a bunch of foods to improve the texture, and since it comes from a natural process, it's perfect for that clean label goal. But here is where the real science kicks in. You can't just dump a bunch of this stuff into the dough and hope for the best. Nope. To find the perfect amount, the researchers set up what I'm calling the Goldilocks test. They had to find the amount that wasn't too little, wasn't too much, but was just right. And they were super methodical about it. They baked 9 different versions of the bread. They started with a control loaf, 0 gel and gum. That's the baseline. Then they just kept adding a tiny bit more and a tiny bit more, testing all these different concentrations all the way up to 2%, just hunting for that sweet spot. So, after all that baking, all that measuring, and analyzing every little detail, they found it. They hit the jackpot. The results pointed to one clear winner: a single recipe that nailed the texture perfectly. And this is it, the magic number: 0.125%. It's wild, right? Just an incredibly tiny and super precise amount of this stuff was enough to completely transform the bread. It just shows you how a very small change can make a huge, huge difference. Okay, and you can actually see the difference. It's amazing. This right here is a picture of the inside of the control bread, the one with no gel and gum, seen through a microscope. Just look at that structure. See how the air pockets are all random sizes and all over the place? The study calls them uneven. Basically, it's a dense mess, and that's why the bread is heavy. Now, look at this. What a difference. This is the bread with that perfect little 0.125% of Gellan gum. The researchers noted it has a smoother surface, and the air pockets are homogeneously distributed. I mean, you don't need a science degree to see that this one just looks better. It's uniform, it's airy, it looks like a proper loaf of bread. But okay, it looks good, but how does it feel? Well, they measured that too. Things like hardness, how squishy it is; springiness, how well it bounces back; cohesiveness, basically, does it hold together or just fall apart? And what's amazing is that the new bread felt pretty much the same as the control. In other words, the gel and gum created that beautiful, airy inside without making the bread feel gummy or weird. It fixed the one big problem without creating any new ones. That's a huge win. All right, so that's the lab stuff, which is super cool. But let's bring this back to real life. What does all this actually mean for you and me when we're making our next sandwich? Well, it means we could be on the verge of getting a whole wheat bread that is genuinely delicious. Bread with that soft texture we love, but made without any of those weird-sounding additives. It just makes the healthy choice the easy choice, When the healthy bread is also the tasty bread, it's a no-brainer. This is just a perfect example of science making our everyday food that much better. And hey, you don't just have to take my word for it. The scientists who actually did the work summed it up perfectly themselves. They wrote, This study establishes Gellan Gum as a potent and effective, clean label additive for whole wheat bread. I mean, in the world of scientific papers, that's basically a mic drop. So the next time you're in the bread aisle, just imagine that dense, heavy loaf of whole wheat could soon be a thing of the past. The future of your healthy sandwich is looking a whole lot lighter, a whole lot fluffier, and honestly, a whole lot more delicious.